It has become a truism of the Trump regime that Donald's economic policies have been disastrous, in part because he doesn't understand economics. From his unilateral, unprovoked trade wars and the hefty tariffs that he's applied to imports to an unruly stock market, our country is teetering on the edge of an economic downfall because Donald does not know how to lead. One group getting hit the hardest by Donald's economic failures is farmers, and basically everyone involved in the agricultural industry. Companies like John Deere, an iconic American brand that is integral to farming, are suffering thanks almost entirely to Donald's disastrous tariffs. According to a report by Kevin Draper from the New York Times, quote, last month, John Deere said net income in its most recent quarter was down 29% from a year earlier. Higher tariffs, primarily on steel but also on aluminum, have cost the company $300 million so far, with nearly another $300 million expected by the end of the year. This summer, the company laid off 238 employees across factories in Illinois and Iowa, unquote. John Deere employs 30,000 workers in 60 facilities across the country, and more than 75% of their machines were assembled in the United States. Only 25% of the parts used in its products come from foreign countries. John Deere is an example of what happens when Donald continues to enact policies that are detrimental not just to American companies, but to American companies that actually operate within the United States. He claims to be a proponent of business manufacturing and companies operating in America, hiring American workers and selling to American businesses. But under his so-called leadership, American companies, and in particular farmers, are doing nothing but taking a hit. At the end of the day, either American businesses or American farmers will be bearing the burden of Donald's tariffs, or somebody will do something to intercede. Because remember, farmers largely vote for Republicans. Farmers make up a part of the Republican base. Why is it that no Republican leaders in Congress are taking a stand to help their constituents, even if they don't care about anybody else? Republicans are supposed to care about real Americans in real America, like the Midwest, where farmers grow our food. But apparently, Republicans don't care about them either. So it's going to become more and more expensive and less profitable to be a farmer or a manufacturer of farming equipment in America. It's not just equipment that's getting more expensive. American farmers are also starting to feel the pain when it comes to their crop prices. Farming supplies are getting more expensive, and the price of their crops is dropping, which means that it's costing farmers more to grow their produce while profiting less. Corn and soybean producers, to name a few, are sounding the alarm that if something isn't done soon, farms are going to start to go bankrupt. The American Soybean Association sent a letter to Donald in mid-August warning that, quote, soybean farmers are under extreme financial stress. Prices continue to drop, and at the same time, our farmers are paying significantly more for inputs and equipment. U.S. soybean farmers cannot survive a prolonged trade dispute with our largest customer, unquote. Despite this, when U.S. Agricultural Secretary and backyard chicken enthusiast Brooke Rollins was asked about the dire situation for farmers, she and Donald said that Americans' farmers must simply wait it out. Take a look.
President Trump's tariffs may be taking an upfront toll on America's farmers as crop prices plunge and duties cause a hike in costs on tractors, fertilizers, and other farming equipment. A Purdue University survey showing farmer sentiment dropping for the third straight month in August, expressing less optimism about the agriculture economy. But the president has asked farmers to keep trusting him and give the trade policies time to play out. Agricultural Secretary Brooke Rollins.
No one has been more supportive supportive or passionate or dedicated to our farmers than President Trump. And this period of uncertainty was part of it. But as we have seen, deal after deal after deal hit the world stage, with more announcements coming in the next few weeks, even more exciting deals. These trade renegotiations opening up the markets, cutting deals. Bangladesh just, I believe, yesterday announced a massive purchase of wheat from America. We'll have more of those coming soon. And the golden age for our American farmers is around the corner.
Oh, that's interesting about more announcements coming soon. We're going to watch for that, Secretary.
Around the corner? I thought we were in the golden age right now. I feel cheated and lied to. Yeah, like on a daily basis. But Donald is asking farmers whose livelihoods depend on his agricultural policies to let it play out. It is playing out, though. It's playing out and it's bankrupting them. Things aren't going to turn around. There is no corner to turn here. The policies are working exactly as you would expect they would, because they're disastrous and ill-advised. Donald never fulfills his promises. We know this. What's even worse, though, is he's incapable of admitting when he's wrong. And he has been wrong about tariffs from the very beginning, and they are continuing to take a toll on all Americans, but particularly industries Americans really, really rely on, like those people actually growing our food. He can continue to ask farmers to be patient as much as he wants, and they can decide whether or not they're willing to be patient on his behalf. But in the meantime, many of them are going to continue to need to declare bankruptcy. As I mentioned, many farmers, especially those in Republican states and rural areas, have long been supporters of Donald. But now that he and Republicans in Congress are leaving farmers and blue collar workers in the dust, literally and figuratively, they are moving on from the very Republican Party that they've supported and that now seems to have abandoned them. Democrat Conrad Cable, a vegetable farmer from Union Parish, Louisiana, is taking on Mike Johnson in his bid for re-election in 2026. Take a look at Cable's campaign video.
In 2017, Louisiana sent Mike Johnson to Washington to fight for Louisiana families. Instead, we got politics as usual. I'm Conrad Cable, a farmer from Farmerville, Louisiana. And like you, I know what it's like to work hard, pay your bills, pay your taxes, and still feel behind. Every month, folks around here are getting crushed by higher electric bills, skyrocketing insurance, and grocery prices that make you put food back on the shelf. Meanwhile, Washington is busy handing out favors and tax breaks to billionaires and multinational corporations. That's not leadership, and it sure isn't helping Louisiana. I got into farming to feed people, plain and simple, to make sure my neighbors had healthy food on their tables. And that same spirit is why I'm running for Congress, to make sure that every family in our district has a fair shot at a good life. That means tackling the insurance crisis so you can keep your home, making disaster recovery fast and fair when storms hit. It means protecting Social Security and Medicare so our parents and grandparents can live with dignity. It means a government that works for all the people who built this place, not just the ones who buy their way into power. I'm not a career politician. I'm not polished or perfect, but I know how to put in an honest day's work. And I know who I'm working for. It's you. I'm Conrad Cable, and I'm running for Congress to plant the seeds for a better Louisiana.
Good ad. Cable spoke in an interview with USA Today Network about how farmers are being failed under current leadership, saying, quote, "This isn't about left versus right. It's about the bottom versus the top. I want to represent working people who are working harder than ever and getting back less and less," unquote. That is Donald's economic policy in a nutshell. Working people are getting less and less, the rich are getting richer, and it's getting harder for most of us to get by anymore. So everybody needs to be paying attention to races like this, because if Democrats want to make inroads, they need to be running people like Cable everywhere in this country. Will they win? I don't know. But if they don't run the message that America is on the brink, that working people are being left behind, will never, ever reach the people who need to hear it most. Please take a second and like and share this video. Be awesome if you could subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to us in podcast form, please follow us and give the show a 5-star rating because it really does help other people find our content. Thanks.